Hey scrappers, it's Vanessa here with another scrapbook process video, and today I am playing along with a really fun back to school hop, and it is a hop that's actually been going on for a few days now, and it is hosted by Sarah Scraps. So be sure to check Sarah's channel for her layout for the back to school hop, which was on Wednesday, I believe, and she will have everyone who is playing along that day, as well as be sure to just search on YouTube and you should find plenty of back to school inspiration for all your back to school layouts. And I will also have the link in the description box below for everyone who is playing along on this hop for today. So now the theme for the back to school hop was sort of the idea of what does school look like for you this year? And so I know for everyone, school is likely a little bit different than everyone is used to, that's for sure. I know for me here that for my children, back to school hasn't changed a whole lot. We have always homeschooled our children, and so my kids are at home anyway when they do school, and so it hasn't changed a whole lot this year for them. But my daughter is doing dual enrollment, so she is doing both high school and college-sided classes, which right now are at home, but second semester she will go to class for the college classes. But my husband, on the other hand, is a high school math teacher, both Algebra 2 honors and pre-calculus, and so school for him this year is certainly different than it has been in the past. And so that is kind of what I'm documenting this year, in the fact that, you know, it's definitely a different world we are in right now for back to school. And so while I was sort of talking about the hop, I did go ahead and put some texture paste on my white cardstock that I'm going to use for my background. And then I have taken this photo of my husband, and it is him wearing his mask in his classroom. And I have just gone ahead and just created a few different mats to layer up behind my photo. So I'm kind of sticking with, at least around the photo and the majority of the layout, sort of the greens and teal kind of color scheme. I have a little bit of navy and a little bit of black in there as well. But those are kind of the primary colors I'm going with for the most part on this layout. And so I'm going to just layer up all those photo mats, just give that a sort of extra attention of those lots of mats around the photo so it sort of really stands out. And then I have these little tab stickers, and I'm just going to put those here up at the top of my photo. And then once I have that done, my background with the texture paste here in just a second is going to come back in because it has dried. The best thing about using that texture paste and just putting that through a stencil, which, if I didn't mention, that stencil that I was using came from Redefined Creative, and it just is a whole bunch of plus signs, which I thought was appropriate for my husband, who is a math teacher. And so I just used that for my background, and I am now to sort of bring out all of those, or all of that texture in my background. I am taking my Evergreen Bow Distress Oxide and just a little brush here, and I'm just going to put some color on that background so that it kind of makes that mixed media stand out. And because I am not using a ton of water, this actually only took a few minutes to dry because the texture paste was fairly thin. And then with no real wet medium, I was able to pretty much be able to work right away on my background, which for me is great because I am pretty impatient when it comes to mixed media, and I typically like to get going on my layout. So if it doesn't, warp my page, I don't have to wait a long time to let it dry. That is typically my kind of mixed media. So now I am working on the rest of my background because I can't just leave it the way it is. I have to add something to it. And so what I'm going to do is take this black washi tape, which I actually found on Amazon, and it's sort of like a chalkboard looking washi tape, and on the chalkboard, it has all of these sort of math problems and equations and all of these sort of calculations, which again, I thought was very appropriate for my husband, who is that math teacher, and that's sort of what he deals with on a daily basis. And so I just went ahead and rather than just use it as a full strip because of how wide it is especially, I decided to go ahead and just tear some strips of this fun, very math-themed washi tape, and I'm going to put a little strip up at the top of the layout and then another strip at the bottom. And that's going to sort of be part of my background. To finish off those two areas that I left without washi tape, I am going to take this rainbow washi and I am going to put some of it on white cardstock. What I found was that the washi tape, because it is in fact washi, it is see-through, and it was showing through the black, or the black was showing through the rainbow, I should say. And so it needed to go on white cardstock so that I could have it be sort of like a border strip that I could put on the top and bottom of my layout. So I'm just going off camera here, and I apologize, I'm cutting this sort of off camera, but I basically am just putting that washi tape down, and then I'm going to glue it there to the top, and ultimately the bottom, when I come back here, is going to have it at the top and bottom of my layout. So that nicely frames sort of the top and bottom of my layout, and then I will have a teal cardstock which I will frame the entire layout. Since that is sort of my typical look, I usually always frame my layouts with cardstock of some sort. Now comes the fun part. I am taking all these sort of bits and pieces that you see off to the side there, and most of these embellishments that you see me using here and sort of clustering up are actually from Tracy Reed, and Tracy Reed came out with a back to school collection, and so I did go ahead and purchase that, and I printed and fussy cut all of these little fun back to school embellishments, and those are primarily what I'm using to build each of the clusters for this layout, and I really love how it turned out. I love the different little sayings, and she even has like the laptop with a virtual school, which is appropriate for my husband because he is not only a sort of in-person for the kids that are in class, but he also teaches 2 of his periods. He teaches online for the kids that are not back at school physically. They are online, and so he is doing sort of double duty this year. So he has kind of sort of a split up day, and so it's perfect to have that laptop with the virtual school and then sort of the other things with the notebooks and pencils for the fact that he's got his kiddos in class. So I have 3 different clusters that are going to go on this layout, one at the top of my photo, and then the one to the right of the photo. So once I have all of those, I just glued those down off camera. I did pop up a few things with some fun foam just to give some dimension to those clusters. And then once I had that, I am working here on my title, which for my husband, definitely this is an appropriate title since unlike any other year, and definitely I'm sure to probably be the case at most schools for those that are going back, it is mandatory to wear masks this year, obviously with everything. And so I thought this was kind of a fun title. This is a picture of my husband with his mask on. And so I titled this one New School Accessory because that is definitely what it is. There are certainly plenty of people who coordinate their masks with their outfits and whatnot. So it is definitely the new accessory for school this year. And so I thought if I was going to document anything for back to school, why not make it something that is definitely different this year for sure. And so that is what I'm going with. Now to finish up the rest of this layout, I'm just going to take some of these little puffy stickers in some arrows and some stars and some little puffy dots, and I'm going to sprinkle those into each of my clusters and kind of just finish off each of these different little embellishments. I am going to pull in here in just a second some enameled dots in a black, a teal, and a yellow, and I'm just going to dot those around. I'm kind of just fussing around with which colors and which sizes to put in each of my embellishment clusters, but once I get those down, that is pretty much going to wrap up this layout. There will be still photos at the end, and please remember to go ahead and check all the links below and leave some love for everyone who is participating in the hop today and sharing their back to school layouts. And like I said, be sure to check back at all of the other ladies from Sarah's original post on Wednesday, and just search YouTube in general, and you should find plenty of back to school inspiration. So with that, guys, here are the photos, and I will catch you on the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.